All right, Congressman, I'm glad you are still with me because we've had some news break in the last few minutes that I want to get your take on. The New York Times is reporting that special counsel Robert Mueller is looking at the president's tweets about former FBI Director James Comey and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. I see you smiling there. He's looking now to broaden his already rather broad investigation for evidence of obstruction of justice via these tweets. Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani is reportedly dismissing his interest as part of an effort to just sink the president. And you say what?
Harris, if we're going to start investigating for people for mean tweets in Washington, D.C., I think we're going to need a whole lot more special counsels. The Mueller probe is so baseless against the president, they're literally down to trolling tweets. It reminds me of the text messages between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page in May, where they were saying there's no there. This was 7 months after the investigation that the FBI began into Russian collusion, and they were saying there's no there. Now there's such an absence of fact as to collusion that Robert Mueller is literally having to troll tweets. I think it highlights the absurdity of the entire endeavor.
Congressman, that is a fascinating comparison that you just made. Because you're talking about potential bias inside the FBI via messages that were different than a tweet where you put it out there and people can kind of interpret what you said. These were between two lovers at the FBI, very direct and easy to understand by both parties in the world to look at it. And you compare that to just taking a look at tweets. Now, Judge Napolitano said it's a possibility that this just lengthened out the investigation.
Well, possibly, and we know that Mueller does not want to hand his report to a Republican Congress. I think that there's an element of the Mueller probe that's waiting on the Trump piece in the hopes that somehow Democrats will take control, and that's why it's so important that Republicans keep the House so that we don't see the president railroaded with a totally baseless investigation that failed to produce any evidentiary basis 7 months into the investigation when the lead investigator, Peter Strzok, was texting his girlfriend, there's no there.
Okay, so as we move forward with this investigation and we now have the president's tweets and all of this, we know from the president, at least in recent weeks and months, that the situation has changed. He has attorneys now looking at his tweets. That's what I understand to be the case. If Mueller does this, what does it mean for the total investigation? Do you see this going into 2019, 2020?
Well, it just can't. I mean, at some point, we've got to call Robert Mueller before the Judiciary Committee and say, put up or shut up. We got to find out if there's evidence of collusion or illegal activity. We need to know it and proceed accordingly. And if there is no evidence, we should not continue to tear the country apart with an investigation that seems to lack any factual basis into the president or members of his team. I think we all can unify to go after Russia's efforts to interfere with our election. We can all work on better resiliency. But as it relates to collusion and obstruction of justice, let's see what the evidence is. And if there isn't any, and I don't think there is, let's move on as a country.